Hey guys, Josh Homan here already. Good on you, man. So, what's new? Don't tell me the election. Cheers, everyone. So, hopefully everyone's had a good week. Yeah, Long Island Mopars in the house. Welcome along, old timer. Cool. Who'd you vote for, Kiwi? Straight into it. I thought I said no politics tonight. Unfinished project. What's that, a goat? Garth Harris is tuning in from Aussie. Welcome along, bud. Need to turn my notifications off on my phone. It's not blinging at us. Alrighty. Long Island Mopars figured out how to make Canadian Club drinkable. Do tell. How did you make it drinkable? God, I haven't Canadian Club. I know that even still around. I haven't heard of that for years. Steve Sadusky, welcome along, bud. All right. We've got 15 of you guys in here. That's cool. Unfinished project, Long Island iced tea. Okay. Use it to Long Island Mopars. Use it to make a Manhattan. There you go. That would work, yeah. Pop's Mustang shop. I prefer no politics. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is now. Yeah. Where's Kev? He decided to stay at the workshop tonight, mainly because I forgot to put him in the car. So yeah, he's in timeout back at the workshop. Canadian Club and ginger ale. Okay. Yeah, back to the politics. Yeah, it is what it is. We just got to wait now. Hopefully you all voted. That's about as much as I'm going to talk about politics tonight. And if you did, good on you. And we'll see what happens in the next 6 or 12 hours, I guess. Roy Miller, hey, welcome along, man. Steve Sadusky hanging out in the garage. Good for you. What are you working on, bud? What are you working on? So Long Island Mopars are getting cold up your way, buddy? It's still warm here, eh? Steve Sadusky, 68 Chevelle SS floor pan. Okay. Not cold today in LH. NH, New Hampshire? NH. Not very good on those acronyms. Long Island Mopars, not yet mild temperatures. Oh, that's nice. Old timer, even warmer tomorrow. Oh, well. Josh Homan, I did vote. Always do. Good on you, man. You kind of got to. You can't complain, right? But mind you, I think a lot of people don't vote and do complain. So, but anyway, it's enough about politics. Zolly's Auto Clinic. Welcome along, bud. Lots of rain in Illinois. Okay. So Garth Harris, whereabouts in Aussie are you, buddy? Been to a few different spots in Aussie. Yeah, most of the key main places I've been to. Long Island Mopars, no rain here since September. Wow. Oh shit. Old timer F7. I didn't vote. Car broke down 40 minutes from home. Oh, that sucks. Mate, I was up early. 7 o'clock at the polling station. Got mine done and out of the way. Yeah. So let's talk about cars. What's going on in your guys' world car-wise? Who's got questions? Who's got um, something to shout about what they're doing on their car, something to show off about? Steve Sadusky, that slick stick works great for drilling out spot welds. It really does. Hopefully you bought that on my recommendation. I'd be happy about that. It's really good stuff. So much better than spraying on, whatever type of aerosol lube. It's just way cleaner. Zolly's Auto Clinic. You ever built any transmissions? Yeah, I'm not. I've never really delved into the automatic transmissions. I'll be honest, but manuals. Yeah, done a lot of manual transmissions. Especially in my rallying days, because we were always stripping the gearbox down and getting components crack tested and that kind of thing. So I could just about do those transmissions with my eyes closed. Oh, cool, Steve. You did get it off that. Cool. Well, I'm glad you did. It's as good as I said, isn't it? Where's all the Kiwis in the house tonight? Have we got any Kiwis on board? Are you just kind of lurking in the background? Might be a little quiet night tonight. Maybe, I don't know whether that's the... Barracuda, there you are, buddy. How you doing? Yeah, I'm not sure how we're going to go, how this live's going to go tonight, whether people are going to be more caught up in the whole election thing, or I kind of wondered about postponing it, just because of tonight being what it is. But I thought, well, maybe you guys would like it. I know for me, it's quite nice to have a break from it. So I was kind of hoping you guys would enjoy a break from it as well. Chris Freemesser, welcome along, bud. Yeah, how's it all going? It's going well, mate. It's going well. Been working on Casper, the white fastback we've got in the shop. We finally got the parts together that we needed for that, and we're just putting the Scott's Hot Rods rear suspension on it. And I'll be honest with you, what I've seen so far of Scott's Hot Rods rear suspension, I'm not a huge fan. I've seen better, honestly. The front suspension was not bad, but the rear suspension, it's too generic to be putting in a Mustang. It's kind of a universal rear end kit, and it's really designed, I think, for like a full chassis car with a more room underneath it, and it's really not lending itself well to the Mustang. We'll get it in. That's what the customer wanted to use, and we'll get it in. But there's better options for a Mustang than that Scott's Hot Rod rear. I think it might be different if you got a complete chassis off them. But what they've kind of done is taken the rear suspension out of, that's similar to what they put in most of their full chassis that they build, and kind of made a few little very subtle changes and said, here you go, make that fit in your unibody car, and really didn't tell you how to do it. Right, so that's that. Cheers from Biker Bob 59. Cheers from Saskatchewan. I think I'm saying that right. Long Island Mopars. What's up with Large Marge? Any tweets? Man, I've been running at the shop. I haven't had chance to get her back in. I've replaced the driver's side floor. Made that up because you can buy some kind of they're not stampings. You can buy floor pans for them, but they're just, I can't remember the name of the company that does it, but they're just kind of homemade. Sounds a bit negative, but they're not stampings. They're rolled up on a bead roller, and I'm like, I can do that. So that's what I did. I just got some sheet metal, rolled the beads into it, and got it all done on the driver's side. So I've got somewhere to put my feet now, and I was all ready to put a video out on it. and the SD card in the GoPro just took a shit. Like, it was working. We filmed the video, took the card out, put it in the computer, and it wouldn't read it. And then now nothing will read it. No, none of tried it in other computers, nothing. It won't work. So I've actually ended up sending it away, and they're trying to retrieve the videos off the SD card. Now, it had quite a few on there. I mean, a lot of the videos that were on the SD card, are already up on YouTube. But all the stuff that I did on Marge's driver's side floor is on there and was, I say, ready to be put together and published. But yeah, the SD card gods said, no, just tricking. We're not going to let you do that. So that kind of sucks. So, if they can't retrieve it off the SD card, then and it's freaking expensive to get it. Like, I have to send it away, and it's like could be somewhere between $250 and $2,000 to retrieve the videos off the SD card that just out of left field decided it wasn't going to release its information anymore. So that kind of sucked, but yeah. So we're just working on a couple of other videos now. Obviously, this Casper one now that we're putting the rear suspension in. That'll be good to see what you guys think about that. And yeah, so that's what's happening with Large Marge. I'll have to wheel it back in and put the passenger side floor in, which is just as bad. So, and redo the video if I can't get it back off the SD card. So yeah. Zolly's Auto Clinic. I like to play around with older GM autos and manuals. One of my favorite is the 700 700 R4 auto. Yeah, I've never really delved into automatics. They always, just never really gotten one apart. So depending who you talk to, they're really difficult or they're really easy. But I've had a lot of automatic guys say that manuals are too complicated, and I don't find that to be the case with manuals. I quite like messing with them, but so maybe the automatic wouldn't be so hard. But these days, I've got a guy that's really close to my shop that does a really good job on the older automatics. All the automatics, actually, not just older ones, but that's what I usually get. It's just more efficient to pull the transmission, drive it up, like literally about 4 minutes up the road to him, and he rings me when it's ready. And it works every time. I don't have to, wonder if I'm doing it right. So, he just does it right every time. So yeah. So Story, Rhode Island here. Good evening. Good evening, man. James Martin, g'day, Kiwi. Me and Kate surfing the election when I realised you were on. Love your work. Enjoy the content. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. Barracuda, isn't Alan Moffat from Saskatchewan? I know he's from Canada, but I don't know where in Canada. Chris Freemas, I work in IT. You always need your data backed up somewhere. Yeah, I really didn't think about backing up the SD card. I didn't realise that was a thing, to be honest with you, which is my fault. I back up the stuff off the computer every so often with the external hard drive. I think that's what they call it. But yeah, I never thought about doing it with the SD card. So hopefully they can retrieve it. But it would have been all about timing, because we literally filmed the video, and like I think it was like the next day I went to download it to start editing it, and it was gone. So I guess when they just, there's no telling when they're going to quit, and it just quit. Long Island Mopars. SD cards can wear out like brake pads with heavy use. Really? Never thought about that. So are you referring to the storage capacity of them, or like the little contacts? Because I'm always swapping it from the GoPro into the laptop and back and forth, back and forth. So is like wearing out like that? Is that what you mean? Rex Ferris, as I'm planning on putting my new floors in my 55 with panel bond, I was wondering if you had any advice or note. No. Short answer, no. Honestly, I'm not. Floor pans with panel bond. I mean, the thing with panel bond, your mating surfaces have to mate very well. Like it won't fill big gaps. So you've got to make sure that everything is in pretty close proximity, like a good match. If you've got big gaps, you're going to have problems with it. That's one thing about welding them, and you can weld it where it's touching, and then you can work the metal. You can hammer and dolly it, or beat it, or jack it, or do whatever you need to do to change the shape. But with panel bond, you've got to have the shape right before you break out the glue. So, and the stampings on the modern stuff, that is panel bonded together, the quality is so much better than it ever was back in the 60s or 50s. And the modern stuff is so much better than the repop stuff of the 50s and 60s that we buy now. So yeah, I've really stayed away from panel bond. So, which is not really advice. It's just like a bar humbugger, really, I guess, isn't it? But really, my only advice would make sure that it fits as good as you can possibly make it fit before you break out the glue. Pop's Mustang shop. Last weekend was the annual Shriners Car Show at Linville, Alabama. 800 cars all raising money to help kids. Thanks for the Shiners and all their work to make the weekend event a success. Well, that's cool stuff. 800 cars, that's a good turnout, man. Well, hopefully they did well and made plenty of money. And great cause. So yeah, I don't know a lot about the Shriners. I know the name. I really don't know what they're about, to be honest. It's not something that we have in New Zealand that I'm aware of. Dickie Varley likes, lots of likes. See, we got 18 likes so far. You feel free to hit the like button some more. Long Island Mopars like button engaged. Good on you, man. Yeah, apparently it does. Likes help a lot with the algorithm. Help, the more likes you get, the more YouTube notices you. So, yes, feel free to hit the like button as many times as you like and as often as you like. Yeah. Chris Freeman say, the old mechanical hard drives would usually give you some indication they were on their way out. Solid state drives will fail without warning. Yes. Long Island Mopars, the read-write ability of an SD card wears out digitally over time. Okay. Well, the SD card I've been using was a big one. It was like a 512. So I hadn't even had to, there was a lot of videos on it, and I needed to go back and delete some, but I hadn't because the card was still filling up. It still had tons of room on it. It was actually, the card was too big really for what I needed. Ended up just buying another one, a 276, I think, which now that holds a lot of videos. Because I don't video on a particularly high grade because it high quality. I mean, it's okay, but it's not like super high definition, if that's the right term. Because when you do, it takes forever to download the damn things. Josh Homan, those solid state drives also wear out after a certain number of times. They should just go back to hard drives. Yeah, you're kind of talking a language I don't really understand with all that stuff. Dickie Farley, use real weld, not panel bond on your 55. Okay. Do you want to explain that one, Dickie? What's the difference? I'm not familiar with that real weld. What's the difference between that and panel bond? Because Freemason mechanical hard drives are way slower than solid state drives. Lots of gigabytes and stuff, which, yeah, okay. That's over my head. Steve Sadusky, Kiwi, have you ever used a tram tool for squaring up body panels? Your opinion on the tool? Tram tools, yeah, they can be quite handy. They can be quite handy. I have used them. Yeah, they definitely work. I don't have one currently, but yeah, they're good if you've got access to one. Yeah, they make life certainly a little bit easier. Yeah. Phil Buckley, welcome along, sir. Thanks for dropping in. Rex Farris, the man who taught me did his with panel bond, and I don't have access to a welder. Okay. So in this case, the cheaper option would be panel bond. Okay, no, well, I mean, fair enough. Yeah, when the surfaces are prepped properly and they're nice and clean, like really clean, it is genuinely as strong as welding. But yeah, stuff just has to fit well. So I guess you could do a certain amount of tech screwing as well, hold it in place and close up some of the gaps while the panel bond set up. Might be a way of doing it too. So it's just not something I've really messed with a lot. But yeah, I would think you could use some tech screws to help you out along the way. Rex Farris, it's more necessity than preference at this point. Fair enough, you got to do what you got to do, right? Rex Farris, fortunately, the floors are in good enough condition. I should have plenty of surface to work with. Well, that's good. That's good. Make sure it's really clean. Really clean. That is key. Dickie Farley, I just mean he should use a MIG welder on his 55 or something that will... Oh, real weld. Okay. Sorry, now I thought you meant a product that was like paddle bond, not literally real welding. Okay. I missed that. I didn't pick up on that. Panel bond is best for newer cars that has really tight door skin or something. Yeah, panel bond was, it's a relatively new development, compared to the typical age of the cars most of us work on. And as I say, that goes hand in hand with the way they design the panels to fit together. When they know they're going to be panel bonding, they make flanges smoother and that fit together better. So it's it'll work for your Rex and go for it. It's just not a method that I've got 3 MIG welders, so I just keep on. You tend to stick with what you know, so I just keep burning them in. Long Island Mopars. I have a $300 Lincoln Handy MIG welder. Best money I ever spent. Did all the patches on my 66 Coronet with it. Yeah. No, it's a great thing to have. Like, you wonder how you ever did without it once you do get a MIG welder. And they're really pretty affordable, really. That's pretty cheap for a Lincoln welder. Was that a new one? It sounds like it might have been secondhand. Steve Sadusky, Kiwi, what's your procedure on filling in the quarter panel after welding to the roof area? What do you use to fill in lead? I don't use lead. I'll use that long strand. They call it tiger hair, and it's a long strand fiberglass filler. And I will, obviously, you got to prep the metal first. Like, I usually epoxy it. the area you're going to do, or the whole car. Epoxy it and then put your tiger hair over that, which is a long strand fiberglass filler. And then typically I'll follow that up with a little bit of, like the next, you only very much rough it in with the long strand, because it doesn't shape very well. It's got to be a little low, because you can't block it. It's kind of almost, it doesn't sand well. You kind of got to like hit it with a like I usually shape it, carve it, shall we say, with a 40 grit roll-up, like the 3-inch roll-ups, and kind of rough it very much, very roughly into shape. Then I'll put another swipe of short strand fiberglass filler on it, which is a lot stronger than regular Bondo. But it's more user-friendly, like it's more shapeable than the long strand. And then a final coat with just a very thin layer of just regular Bondo, polyester filler, as they say. But lead brings its issues as well. Some people swear by it, but not many. The products that you use with lead, tend to interfere with painting a little bit, the fluxes and stuff like that. I prefer the long strand filler, and it's super strong, so it doesn't crack. It doesn't fail. Like if you just, I've seen a lot of times people just put a nice thick layer of regular filler over it, and that will fail after a few years typically. That long strand is just really strong. It's kind of like fiberglass strand, matte, and then resin and a little bit of filler. It's not fun to try and spread out. You've got to, it looks a bit ugly when you put it in. You can't get it in nice and smooth and pretty. It's a bit ugly going in, but you wait till it hits. And then just hit it with some 40 grit Rolex, get it roughly, get the high spots off, and then start with short strand and regular filler. Okay, Barracuda, my MIG welder is a Sabora. Okay, haven't heard of that one. Sabora sounds Italian. Biker Bob 59. Hey, I have a 73 Ranchero Squire. Anyone got a clue where to find the fake wood trim? Ooh. Have tried all the salvage yards, I know. So I guess you're talking about the pieces that surround, because it was a vinyl lay-on, wasn't it? Like a vinyl film almost that went on the larger areas, and then it was surrounded with a what, about half an inch thick kind of beading. I can't remember the right word is, but I know what you mean. Because the reproduction films you can get not too badly, the faux wood grain, but the actual trim that went around it. Mate, I want one of that year, that 72 to, when did they go? 72 to 75 or 6. That model Ranchero, I want one of those. I want that for my next work truck, but I've not been able to find a decent one around here. Steve Sadusky, it won't crack, ? No, it won't. It won't. With the long strand fiberglass in it, it's really strong. I have not, I put that in cars, for many years. I've got a customer's car that I did like 12 years ago, and it's looking fine. It doesn't have an issue. So, yeah. Don's Manufactory. Hey, buddy, welcome along. Well, hello from soggy Portland, Oregon. Nice. Long Island Mopars. The Lincoln Welder was new. Brought it at Sears years ago. Oh, it was a flux core. Okay, but could be flipped to MIG. Okay. I hate flux core. Good for you. I hate it too. That was an argument where me and Tony used to wind each other up about that shit. The flux. He loved flux core and I hated it. So we were always digging at each other about that. But no, I don't. Yeah, flux core. No. Flipping to MIG and getting an argon gas bottle was a huge improvement. It's a massive, massive improvement. Chris Freemesser, yeah, Biker Bob, was the wood grain a decal or an actual panel? The wood grain was pretty sure the wood grain was a decal, but I mean, Biker Bob will be able to confirm that. But it had a trim that went around the decal, and that was kind of almost like a stainless steel molding, but it looked like wood grain. It wasn't stainless steel, but it had bulk to it. It wasn't just a thin layer like a film. That was probably set out from the body 3/8 of an inch, and was like an inch or so, inch and a half wide, and surrounded the panel. So yeah, it was like a molding rather than a vinyl stick-on, and that I'm assuming is what he's missing. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. I see you there, Biker Bob. Yeah. So yeah, I had that right. So yeah, those trim bits are going to be very hard to find. A lot of people took them off and threw them away. That wood grain wasn't always the most popular thing. Josh Homan, lead is pretty nasty stuff and not that easy to work with. Yeah, it's not real good for you. Biker Bob, it was fiberglass. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I figured it wasn't stainless steel, but I wasn't sure what it was made of. But I was just trying to make the point that it was, bulky, not big bulky, but yeah, it wasn't, a few thousandths thick like a vinyl film, Okay. Biker Bob, I got a nice one other than these one piece of trim. Oh, geez, one piece. 429 C6 hoot to drive. Yeah, I bet it is. That'd be a nice one. That would be fun. See quite a few 351 like Cleveland ones around. Don't see too many 429s. Long Island Mopars, Biker Bob, look on forums for that Ranchero and see if anyone is 3D printing fake wood moldings out of ABS plastic. That's a good idea. That's good advice. Yeah, Biker Bob, if you got just one piece, it might be worth. Yeah, it might be worth kind of biting the bullet and trying to get someone to 3D print it for you. Have you got the same piece but from the other side that they could maybe scan and then flip like mirror? That might be a way of doing it, getting it, real accurate reproduction. Rex Ferris, at the moment, the main reason I don't have a welder is more because I don't have the time to learn for now. Though I hope to get one and learn soon. There you go. Yeah. So the best bang, in my opinion, the best bang for your buck on MIG welders right now, is the Eastwood, the little Eastwood 130s. Last time I looked, which was a little while ago, they were like 329. And then Eastwood have specials on them where they'll have free shipping or a free welding card or something like that with them quite often too, if you can just keep an eye on them. They'll do specials on them, on or around them quite often. Chris Freemess a lot. Yeah, 3D print them or something, or 3D print something, or go full on woody and make them out of actual wood. Well, that'd be different, wouldn't it? Yeah, I guess one of the hard bits would be matching the color and the texture on them, the finish, the grain, shall we say, or the faux grain. Ford photo flash the wood grain on. Huh. Okay. Pop's Mustang shop. I wish I had a 73 Ranchero. Well, that's two of us, buddy. We both want the same thing. Yeah. I've been looking for a while, and I just haven't landed on the right one. I really like the 72 with that smaller, that fish mouth kind of grill on them. That's my favourite one. One of those in a GT would, yeah, I'd be all about that. Rex Farris, I spent most of my childhood out of country. Okay, which is why I wasn't able to learn earlier. Military brat? Was that why you were out of the country, or what was the story there? Mark Taylor, what's your opinion on the use of a soda blaster? Soda blasting's great. Um, it's not as hard on the panels as sand, but there's a few different medias you can use for blasting paint. I think it'd be soda. Walnut shells is a popular one for getting it off. And what I have found though is sandblasters. Some of them can not distort your panels, even using sand, and some of them can distort your panels when they're using the media that's not supposed to be in the panels. So it depends a little bit on the operator, as I think, as much as the type of product you're using. Um, Biker Bob 59. Yeah, yeah. The only thing missing from it. That's frustrating. Hard on rear tires. I'll bet it is. My Mustang's like that. It's pretty. I think it's an alignment problem on the rear. That's my theory. It just seems to chew through back tires much quicker than front tires. So clearly, we've got the alignment right on the front tires, but not the back. Dickie Farley, does the Eastwood welder you're talking about, Kiwi, have adjustable speed and heat settings? Yes, it does. Yeah, adjustable, like amperage and adjustable wire feed. Yeah, that's pretty standard on most MIGs, I think. Steve Sadusky, I have an Eastwood MIG welder and also a plasma cutter. Yeah, I've got both Eastwood welder and an Eastwood plasma cutter as well. Very good products. You use them a lot and they hold up. Yeah, I've had a great run out of them. Um, I've worn my way through a couple of the 130s where they just eventually gave up. But we're talking about heavy usage. Like they get used most days, and that's 5-6 days a week. And they'll that's, I guess I've worn two out in the 12 years I've had the shop open. I'm kind of on my third one of the. They lasted probably 5 years each, which for $300, that's pretty good. And I actually like the way they weld. So yeah, I've thought about going to spending 3-4 times as much and getting the name brand ones, but it's like I quite like the Eastwood one, and they come with a 3-year warranty as well. So that's pretty hard to beat. Chris Freemasser, I missed last week's live stream. Did I hear right that merch is forthcoming? Merch is forthcoming, buddy. It is. I've actually given the green light on the artwork, and it's in the system now. Should have it in about 2 weeks. He's saying, with a bit of luck, just before Thanksgiving. So we shall see. Hopefully that's right, and you guys can all buy up large for Christmas. All you guys' wives need my t-shirts for Christmas. I'm sure they'd love it. What else we got here? Don's Manufacturing. My brother has a 69 Ranchero 351 Auto Trans for sale. Okay, yeah, you're probably a little bit far away. That's the problem. Trying to get something reasonably local is proving to be a challenge. The 69, I quite like the 69s. But my favourites are 72. Rex Farris, my parents did translation work in West Africa. Although my father was also in the US Marine Corps. Wow, West Africa. That'd be a cool place to grow up. That's awesome. Yeah, what about we got? Long Island Mopars. There was a mint all original 72 country Squire around these parts. 26,000 miles. Wow. Car has been in the same family since new. Acres of fake wood killed an entire plastic and vinyl forest. That's funny. Yeah, I bet he wants to. Well, they probably wouldn't sell it. If it's only got 26,000 miles, I bet you it's not for sale. But that'd be the one to get, wouldn't it? That would be the one to get. Stray bullet. As a walnut grower, I highly recommend walnut shells for blasting. There you go. Yeah, we got all sorts of lines of work on in here, don't we? Like a walnut grower. I've never met a walnut grower before, so it's the first for me, buddy. Mark Taylor, I bet those vinyl wrap guys could come up with an excellent wood grain. Yeah, Mark, I'm sure they could, but what he's missing is the actual molding, the surround, like that goes around the perimeter. They have the vinyl kind of wrap material that is the faux wood grain that sticks direct onto the body panel. But around the edges of it, there's a fiberglass. So I've just found out a fiberglass molding that runs right around the whole perimeter of the wood grain in a contrasting color. It's usually a lighter color, like a blonde sort of wood, and that's the piece he's missing, not the wrap part of it. Biker Bob, my brother has a 73 GT with a 4-speed 351 Cleveland, but it needs restoration. Been sitting for 20 years. Oh, yeah, that sounds like that's up my alley. I know someone who can do the restoration on it as it happens. But yeah, that'd be up my alley. Where is he? Where is that? And is it for sale? God, I hope Mrs. Kiwi's not watching. If she hears me talking about buying another car, there'll be trouble. Barracuda, I know someone who's got a 69 Mustang Fastback 351 Mach 1. Good condition, rebuilt engine, but undercover in his backyard for many years. How valuable are those now? They are going up all the time. The 69 70s were not as valuable as like the 67 8s, but they're catching up fast, like really fast, which makes sense because, in my opinion, that's the best looking model Mustang they built. The 69 in particular, I think is the nicest, coolest shape. Better than a 67 or 8, 4, 5, 6, or any of them. And obviously, when they hit 71, they lost the plot. But yeah, 69s are worth pretty good money. 351 Mach 1. Yeah, that's worth pretty solid money, I would say. I mean, it's all about the condition. It's been under a cover in his backyard for many years. It's probably not doing that well. The damp gets trapped under those covers and doesn't always do them a lot of good. But even if it's rough, it's 15 grand probably for a rough one. Still not quite at the level of the 67 8s, but pretty darn close. Chris Freeman's a Barracuda. That's a sweet car. For a Ford. Oh, here we go. Chevy versus Ford, or Mopar versus Ford. Dickie Farley. Okay. I guess what I meant was, does it have a fine-tuned heat setting adjuster? Because I bought one from a parts store that had a 4-stage heat setting. You couldn't fine-tune. The answer to that is yes, it does. Basically, it's got, I think it's 1. I think it's 1 through 10, and it's just it just rotates. It doesn't click onto each one, so you can go 4.5, 4 3/4, 5, 5.5, whatever you want, wherever you want to put it at. So yes, yeah. Though that 4-position one would not. I wouldn't like that either. Barracuda, hi Chris, hey man. Don's Manufactory road trip. Well, where are you? But did you answer? I didn't see where you're based out of. You did say before, didn't you, how when it was cold or soggy or something up your way, but I don't remember where that was. Biker Bob, Long Island Mopars. Bet they killed a ton of naggers for their seats. Okay, not sure what you're talking about there. Mark Taylor, I've heard that soda residue left on bare metal will help prevent flash rust for a period of time. Not sure. Haven't heard that. Not sure. Yeah, there's bare metal preps that you can buy, for washing down a blasted car, which has got they have an element of acid etch in them, because bare metal will flash rust not to the naked eye, but it will start to oxidize or rust within about 20 minutes. So you need to get them blasted, get them back to the shop and get them cleaned up and get something on them to stop them rusting. We usually use a metal prep on them and then epoxy prime them, which is it's a chore. It is a chore because you can't start blowing the primer in there until you get all that media out. And that is a chore. It's one of the worst things about blasting a car is getting rid of all the media, the sand, the shells, the soda, whatever, getting it all out of there. That's a dirty job that nobody likes doing. Long Island Mopars, the Lincoln Handy Biggers buttons for heat. Okay, so it can't be fine-tuned like a dial. Yep. You can still work with them. They're not like it's a terrible welder, but when you get the dial, once you've used the dial one for a while, you kind of get a bit spoiled. It's it's a bit tough going back to buttons or 4-position knob. Biker Bob, I had my Ranchero soda blaster, did a great job. Yeah, I mean it does do a fabulous job, but yeah, it is a chore getting them prepped for paint again, isn't it? Dickie Farley, you're right about sandblasting or blasting of any kind. It really depends on the person. I never heat warped a panel, but I always try to kiss the panel with sand or whatever, then come back to it. Yeah, I don't blast hoods or deck lids anymore. The rest of the car they can blast, but I just don't trust anybody to blast the hoods. And some of that is the fact the way the underside of a hood and a deck lid is supported with with the inner skin and the little diagonal and braces and stuff like that. They always end up bowing around those braces, and I think it's just the way the metal's supported, by those braces, and then there's those areas that are not supported, and there's like a mismatch. And I personally have not been able to find any company that could blast a hood or a deck lid without warping it to some degree. Some are better, so you get less problem. But I mean, the worst thing about deck lids and hoods is trying to get them, like super straight again. You can fill them, but it's freaking hours of block sanding to get, especially a hood. I mean, that's the biggest, thing that when you walk up on it, the hood and the left front fender are the two panels that have to be the straightest, because that's the two panels that you walk up on typically first, and that's what people see. And if you talk with people in the collision repair industry, that's one thing you're taught, is that those are the two panels that have to be the best. And then like the driver's door, and then like the left rear quarter, people have walked around the car and they're happy or not, as the case may be. But typically, if they look at the front fend, the front driver's door, then they start to not notice the rest of the car quite so much, because they've got their first impression, they're happy, and they keep going. Long Island Mopars. Can't soda blasting do more damage to metal than walnut shells? Uh, I think a lot of it comes down to the operator, but yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to the operator. Like I was saying before, a bad operator can warp things, with the most gentle media, and good guys can not warp it with the worst media, or the most aggressive. Long Island Mopars. There's been a '69 Mach 1 rotting in a driveway under a tarp in the 20 years that I've lived in this neighbourhood. All that will be left is a pile of rust and an emblem. Sadly, yeah, that's the unhappy ending for a lot of cars that people. I'd looked quite a few years ago now, like here locally in Franklin, and a one lady owner Pontiac Firebird, and it sounded like it was going to be an awesome car. It was a 400. It sounded like a really nice car. I think it was a 68. It's a few years ago now. And oh my God, it was rotten. She put it under a cover when it was in quite nice condition. She just bought something else and started using that. And it was a vinyl top car, and it sweated under the cover, and it was almost a convertible. There was so little roof left on it, and then of course everything else was close behind. And I looked at it and I thought, no, I can't fix that. Yeah, it was too far gone for me. Biker Bob Nagger hide seats. Okay, I'm with you now. Chris Freemas, dry ice blasting seems to be a thing now. No residue to clean up. Yeah, that has its. I talked to a blaster guy about that. I thought about getting that done on the underside of the Falcon with the rust issues that's got underneath it, which a lot of that is surface rust. And the blaster guy didn't think that the dry ice was gonna cut it, was gonna get it done. And I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. Thanks anyway. He wasn't wanting to do it. So maybe that was just him. I'm not sure, but he didn't think it would get rid of the rust, the way that we needed it to be gotten rid of. A little too gentle, I guess, would be the word. Granddad's junk's in the house. Cool. No, Mrs. Kiwi's beeping me. Yeah. She's in a different time zone tonight, so she's off to bed. So good night, Mrs. Kiwi. Okay, what do we got? Yeah, you better Biker Bob. You better leave them out in the open air. Yeah, tarps rot cars here too. Yep, they really do. Barry Cooter, my father was a Ford man before the Valiants Ford Prefect with running Ford. The really early Ford Prefect, like the Ford Popular type Prefect. Those had running boards. Yeah, those are old. Granddad's junk. Well, it's getting out of control. Just bought a 2-post toys. Oh, mate, you'll never look back now. It's wonderful having a 2-post toys. It really is. Well done. Congratulations on your latest purchase. Biker Bob, I wish, still crawling in the dirt. Yeah. Getting too old to crawl around under cars these days. I like standing under them. What have we got here? Dickie Farley. Mick Welder was telling us about the 4-stage. Parents bought it as a gift to do bodywork. When I got it, I was like, man, it's nice, but the 4-stage heat settings really sucks with welding on sheet metal. Yeah, the thinner the metal gets, the more tuning you need to do. Like when it's thick, you can just like crank on it and just burn it. But yeah, you don't have that luxury with thin sheet metal, especially if you're getting down to 20 gauge and stuff like that. You just have to step up and buy a fancy one, mate. Barracuda, the Mac one I mentioned is in a dry, semi-desert region of New Zealand, so not a lot of moisture. Well, that'll help for sure. That'll help. Semi-desert region. Where are you talking about the central North Island Barracuda, or like on Desert Road, as they call it? Yeah, that'd be worth quite a bit of money in New Zealand. I'm sure that car, if it's even if it's not very good, it'll be especially if it's been in New Zealand for a long time. You don't have all that importing drama. So yeah, that'll be worth a lot more than the 15 I was talking about in New Zealand. Long on Mopars, yeah, you're dealing the same thing with the 4-stage heat. Granddad's junk. I'm late. Got some help milling another big log to handle on another log too big to handle on my own. There you go. Man, you're working hard for an old boy. Good on you, bud. Chris Freeman's a different time zone. When the cat's away, the mice can play. Absolutely true, sir. Absolutely. Granddad's junk. Can't take the credit. My wife bought it. Wow. Good for her. She going to let you use it? Or do you have to be on your best behaviour? The All Digital USA, Richie and Mandy. How you doing, Richie? Richie Cronin, I'm sure that is. It has to be Rich and Mandy. Taking a break from the you-know-what. Yeah. Mandy wants to buy a Mini, but I won't allow a Leyland or otherwise in the driveway. No, fair enough too. Not a Mini. No. I mean, they are classics. The old ones. I certainly wouldn't bother with a late model Mini. The new retro shaped Mini. They're not great cars. But the old Minis, they've got a real following. The old Minis, but pretty scarce around in the States. Don's Manufacturing. At least I have a cold concrete floor. Well, that's a bonus, isn't it? Long Island Mopars. My garage ceiling isn't high enough for a 2 or 4 post lift. Any thoughts on those portable scissor lifts? I haven't used one myself. I've seen them. They're a good halfway measure, I guess. You're limited on what you can do on them. Certainly make it a bit easier for doing suspension work and brakes and stuff like that. But you can't really get under them to build an exhaust system or drop a transmission out, that kind of thing. So it's a good in between when you don't have any ceiling height. Granddad's junk, and she bought you a 10 by 6 meter garage. May, she's a keeper. You got to say that she's definitely a keeper. You better be working on her card and pay her back. Chris Freemesser, Long Island Mopars. Have you looked into QuickJack? That's what I have. Okay. No, I'm not familiar with those. Ooh. Steve Sadusky, Kiwi. Any idea on where I can get a headliner kit for my 78 Trans Am with T-top? I can't seem to locate a headliner kit. Not a lot of headliner in those. There is a company, but I honestly, I was at a NASCAR track years ago now, and a whole lot of smoking, over 100 Smoking the Bandit Trans Ams came rolling in. And they were doing like some road trip tour thing, and it was all sponsored by this company that sold parts for that Smoking the Bandit style Trans Am. That's all they sold parts for. Now, assuming they're still around, I would think they would have it, but man, it's too long ago for me to remember a name. I would go, if you haven't already, assuming you haven't already, is go looking at look for some forums. Those Trans Ams are immensely popular, so there's going to be several forums for them, and those there's going to be a bunch of guys on those forums that have run into the same problem as you, and they if there is anything available, that's probably where you'd find out about it. A lot of information on those like Facebook forums. I use them quite a bit. There's idiots on there, but you're going to get that. You got to kind of try and filter, some of the stupid responses you'll get. Someone will say, "I just stick velvet up there, with some spray on adhesive," and you'll get dumb answers. But there'll be people on there that know what you're looking for. That'd be my advice. Barracuda, Central Otago. Okay, yep, I'm with you. Yeah, that would be fairly dry there. Dickie Farley. I've just checked the polls, and apparently Kiwi is almost president of New Zealand. Yeah. Oh, well. Yes. There'd certainly be some changes as far as certifying cars go if I was to become president of New Zealand. I would loosen up those laws dramatically. But we actually have a prime minister, not a president, but same difference. Granddad's junk, her car will be a top priority. Yeah, I bet it will. Yes. All right. So what else is going on, guys? Okay, you've all gone quiet. We need more questions. Granddad's junk, the wife's car's the Ford custom line, isn't it? Long Island Mopars. Is that Conquest still around? Yes, it is. Still have it. Mopar L still got the engine for it. What I'm looking for now is time, which is at a premium. I've got two kind of major project cars in the shop now, and they'll be. We're getting through those, and honestly, I'm not really planning on taking in any more major projects in the foreseeable future. Once those two are done, because I want some time for my stuff, and just kind of slow it down a little bit and do a little bit more. The small jobs, the little bit more maintenance, helping people out. Rather than those big jobs. And I mean, when I say that, I've got several big jobs of my own, and I can't be doing like two customer like full restorations, hot rods, and trying to do large Marge, the wife's Alpine, the Conquest, the Barracuda. I need a bit of me time. So here at Kiwi Classics, once that Casper and Project Swiss Cheese, once they're done, you're going to see a lot more of my cars. Because I'm literally running out of time to get some of my projects done. Because none of us are getting any younger. So. Dickie Farley, with frame racks, when I was in vocational school, I was lucky enough that we had not only a chief frame rack, we had one of the few 5-post frame racks before they quit making them. Okay. Very nice. Yeah, there was the modern stuff now. Those frame machines is quite amazing. But yeah, those five post frames were pretty trick. Granddad's junk. I had to move the 58. What a comedy show. It rolled off the trailer down the drive and over a small bank next to the creek. Oh, no, really? Oh, shit. What a comedy show. Sounds like a shit show. Oh, dear. Did it survive its little off-road excursion? Hopefully. Don's manufacturer. Well, I've changed gears working on guitars, two to build, two to restore. Not really fodder for my channel. Okay, that is a changer. One of the other guys here does guitars as well. Cool. That's certainly a change of gears. Good for you, bud. Change is as good as the rest. Long Island. My buddy has a 91 Stealth, which was the Dodge version of the Mitsubishi 3000 GT, right? That replaced the Starion Conquest. Cool car, even though it's not a real Dodge. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't. I'm sure the Stealth had the similar issues, but the Mitsubishi 3000 GT was not the greatest of cars. You got to say. The Starion Conquest was an excellent car, and yeah, then that was a hit, and then. You can't say the Stealth was a miss or the 3000 GT was a miss, but they had more issues. Your digital, I'll text you about Friday, 2 p.m. ABs versus Ireland. Okay, mate. I'd like to get away and watch that, but I think I'll be too busy at work. But yeah, text me about it for sure. Yeah, go for it. Granddad's junk. Wife's car is the 54 car. I knew it was a custom line. And she has a 53 and a 54 custom line and a 47 Morris 8. Well, no wonder she's bought you a garage and a horse. You got a lot of work to do, bud. You better crack on with that. Eric Wilson, I hear that, Kiwi. Yep. Mark Taylor, just curious, what's your opinion on the Series 2 Jaguar XJ12? XJ, haven't had a lot to do with them. So, yeah. Yeah, not nice cars. Big, big heavy sedan. So not really, not really my cup of tea. The XJS I love, which is very similar mechanically. But yeah, I just really haven't had enough to do with the XJs Series 1 or 2 to really form an opinion, to be honest. I know the engines, that's a Jaguar thing, not really an XJ thing. The engines are a little, particularly the 12s, can be problematic. Not many people want to work on them because they can be a bit of a nightmare. But yeah. Rex Farris, Project Swiss Cheese has to be one of my favorite project names ever. Yeah, the owners, I think, I don't think he's completely enamored with the name of his car, but he, he can have a little laugh about it, but I'm not sure he would have chosen that name for it, but what you gonna do? I mean, it wasn't brutally inaccurate. I mean, you guys have seen it. It was a little bit like Swiss cheese. So yeah. Dickie Farley, Kiwi, if I ever come out to meet you, would you sign an American Pickers DVD set for me? Absolutely. Yeah, why not? Sure. I even sign a T-shirt if you buy one, but as soon as I get them, I'll sign a T-shirt for you if you come out. That'd be fine. Granddad's junk. It was all okay. I got the tractor and pulled it out. I didn't get it on video, sadly. It was bloody funny as I chased it with a strop trying to stop it. Oh no. Oh yeah, I've had events like that. Yeah, it's not fun. It's funny like after the fact, but it's really not when it's happening. Eric Wilson, I work on guitars and amps also. Whenever someone brings me something to work on, anyways. Oh, fair enough. Barracuda, I'd like a '67 Jaguar XJ13, but there was only one made. Okay. You'll have to enlighten us, Barracuda. I've never heard of an XJ13, and the fact there was only one made. When I initially read 13, I thought it's a typo, but maybe it's not. If there was only one made, because there was certainly a lot more than one XJ12 made. So what's that about, buddy? What was it? A concept car or something? Long Island Mopars, did you ever have a Corvair in the shop? Yes, I had one. Yeah, they are very unique. I quite like them, actually. I quite like them. Barracuda, is that American Pickers episode on YouTube? You know, I don't know, buddy. It might be. I don't know. There was 2 episodes I was in, fairly close, like same season, fairly close together, but I don't know, 3, 4, 5 episodes apart or something like that. So yeah. But yeah, I haven't watched that program in a long time. So I don't know whether it's even what's available of it on YouTube. Granddad's junk. I did look, but I couldn't find it. Okay. I know they used to do a lot of American Prickers reruns on Discovery. But yeah, whether that's still a thing, I'm not really sure. Dickie Farley, I got clear up to 34 or 35 guitars. I honestly can never remember for sure because I had most guitars at my dad's house when I got my place, but for sure I have 31, 2 Gibson, 3 Fenders and more. Wow. That's a lot of guitars. What's in the glass Kiwi? That's the Jack Daniel's apple bourbon. I've kind of taken a bit of a liking to that lately. It's quite easy to drink. Not that I need much encouragement, but it's still easy to drink. Granddad's junk. When are you coming over for a holiday, mate? On the 11th of December, I fly out to New Zealand for 3 weeks. And I think I get there on like the 13th because you lose a day flying back over the date line. So yeah, I will be on New Zealand soil on the 13th of December. So I'm hoping to catch up with as many people as I can, obviously friends and family, and hopefully a bunch of you guys that watch me here on YouTube. I'd like to catch up with the people that subscribe and help keep the channel going. So yeah, it'll be good to see those guys and meet a few. Put some faces to the names that scroll down and the names you see regularly in the comments and that, and are Kiwis. It would be awesome. Steve Sadusky, don't forget to put Kev in one of your next garage videos. He's the mascot, That's true. Yes, I do. I have been forgetting him. You're absolutely right. I have been forgetting him lately. I have to make sure he's in March when we do the floor on the other side. Now, Barracuda XJ13 was built for Le Mans, but was crashed in testing. V12, beautiful looking car. I'll bet it was. XJ13, Google it. I mean, Jags make some beautiful looking cars. To my mind, the XJS is a beautiful classic shaped car that has aged particularly well. It always looked good. It's never really gone. A lot of cars kind of look good initially, and then they go through a stage where people see them as being a bit ugly, and then they become popular again. But the XJS has just always been, in my mind anyway, always been a great looking car. But yeah, I'm going to look up that XJ13. But yeah, the E-Type. I mean, the E-Type, what a classic. Not many people. Most people that know what a car is would recognise an E-Type Jag. You think about it, that is one of the, the E-Type Jag, the Porsche 911 body shape, that profile. Most people know what that is. That aren't car people, they'll still know what if you ask them, show them just a line drawing of a profile, and they'll know that's a Porsche. And most of them will know the E-Type Jag. They may not know it's an E-Type, but they'll know it's a Jaguar. Those are two of the classic profiles of sports cars that's ever been built, in my opinion. Eric Wilson. I used to work on music equipment part-time at my local music store, but the owner retired, so I don't have late than neither, hoping to catch up. Mate, whenever. That's all good, buddy. Thanks for dropping in. Dickie Farley, Tony smoked a pipe, really, on his last live. Kiwi should start smoking a pipe and put in that green Hobbit tobacco. I'll stick to my bourbon, bud. I'll stick to my bourbon. Green Hobbit tobacco. That's funny. Long Island Mopars. That's a long flight. Yes, it is. It is. I'm going to try and do a couple of lives while I'm down there, and I haven't really had a chance to think about the timing wise. But yeah, because it's certainly a different time of day and a different day in New Zealand, which you can work around that. But I might. I don't know. This is a thought I'm bouncing around. I don't know whether there's enough viewers to kind of do a live that would, like a Tuesday night live, but on New Zealand time. So because I know a lot of the Kiwis and the Aussies that subscribe, they're at work. It's like midday, and some of them. I've had a few comments over that while I've been doing this that they'll watch for half an hour at lunch and then they've got to get back to work, that kind of thing. So if there was enough people interested, then I might do a live like Kiwi time. And then the American viewers that's not going to work well for you at all, because that'll be like 5 a.m, and nobody wants to get up and watch, and wants to watch some old guy blathering on at 5 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, I will definitely. I'm certainly going to shoot some videos over there and get some good, Kiwi car, Aussie car content as much as I can, and get that all posted up, and then try and do a live as well. Chris Freemesser, Kev's back in jail again. Purse snatching this time. Kid can't keep out of trouble for 5 minutes. Chris Freemesser, I'm hoping you're going to put your hand up for a Kev t-shirt. I mean, we're going to have those in a couple of weeks. We've got super Kev t-shirts coming. Barracuda, Tempero Cars and Oamaru have built some replica XJ13s. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to Google that and have a look at that. There's probably something on YouTube as well, I'm betting. Mark Taylor, that XJ13 sounds like something from Spinal Tap. My amp goes to 11. Biker Bob, got to go now. We'll message you on YouTube in the next couple of days and give you info on Rancheros. Oh, cool, man. Thank you. You can email me too if you want. Let me see if I can just put that in here for you. Oop, I hit the wrong key there and sent KI. That was dumb. Let me try again. There you go. That's my email address. chris@kiwicnc.com. Barry Cooter. Jaguar XJ6s and V12s tend to be repowered with 350 Chevy engines in New Zealand. Yeah, I mean, that's a very good swap. More power, less weight, and a lot more reliability. The Jaguar enthusiasts think it's sacrilege, but Kevin Tate's, which a lot of you guys will know of, he built a lovely XJS with an LS swap in it. And that was a gorgeous car. That was a really nice, like candy red metallic color. It was a gorgeous car. Long Island Mopars. I put a Mopar 318 into an XJ, but that's me. Okay. Yeah, well, Chevy. I mean, yeah, I guess, the small block Chev's always been more popular for repowers, isn't it? And that Long Island, that was an XJ Jag, not an XJ Jeep. Yeah, it confuses me sometimes when the people start talking about XJ Jeeps. When I hear XJ, just kidding. Oh shit. Okay. Oh, granddad's chunk. Make it a poly, even better. Oh Lord, there'd be even less room to work. Yeah, whenever someone says XJ, my brain goes straight to Jaguar, not Jeep. But, Alan Sheldroff, with my S-type Jag, to get the lower control arm off, I had to take off the inner tie rod. Oh, on the steering rack? Wow. That's a bit of a pain. Long Island Mopars, we had a 65 Coronet show up at our last meet with a Poly 318. It's as wide as a big block. Yeah, they are. They're massively wide. Yeah, you sit them beside a 289 or something like that, and they're huge. And that's kind of that was their downfall, really. Just the sheer size of them just made it hard for the engineers to make things work. Because they were just so big. And I believe there was also the LA 318 was a lot cheaper. The cylinder heads, so the short block's basically the same, but the heads were a lot cheaper to produce in the LA 318. Rather than the canted valves, a lot less machining. They could just go along and bore the guides and do that kind of stuff. It was a lot quicker and more cost effective. Barracuda, I know of an HQ 1-tonner repowered with a 318 LA engine. Yeah, only in New Zealand, huh? Like, there just wasn't. I'm not sure what it's like now, but I know when I was, like in my 20s, 30s, engines were a lot harder to come by. So just a V8 was a V8. People weren't quite as picky. But yeah, 318 and HQ. And HQ, for those that don't know what an HQ is, it's kind of like a Ranchero, but it's the Holden or GM version of it. And they had their own 308 V8, which was nothing to do with. It's similar to a small block Chevy, but not the same. But yeah, made by GM in Australia. But you could buy the 308s, 5-ish liters, which would have gone straight into that vehicle, whereas you had to modify everything to put a 318 in it. But yeah, why not? Alan Shielded bolt hitting it. Okay, couldn't get the bolt out of the arm because the rack was on the way. Yeah, the English engineers don't always think of stuff like that. Mind you saying that, it was Cadillac to put the starter motor under the intake manifold on that I think it was the North Star engine. The engineer, you can't really just rag on the English engineers because they've across the world they've made some pretty interesting, shall we say, decisions. Oh, Dickie and Cool Eric are chatting amongst themselves here. Deluxe with mini humbuckers. What on earth is a mini humbucker? A smartwood made from one is a smartwood made from smartwood? Hardwood. Never heard of smartwood. Made from rainforest wood that has full-size humbuckers. Oh yeah, you're speaking a different language, guys. You really are. That's okay. Mark Taylor. Oh, back to cars. Away from guitars. Back to cars. My Series 2 Jaguar has left me stranded a number of times. I'll bet it has. Mostly because of Lucas Electrics. Yep. The old joke is Jaguars should come with their own tow truck. Well, yeah. Yeah. That's actually, it's interesting that electrics is why Kevin Tate sold his LS swapped XJS. He built that for his wife to drive, and it was an absolutely gorgeous car. But they got so frustrated with it just breaking down all the time and just stuff not working. And it was they kept all the English gauges in it because they wanted to keep that Jaguar look. And yeah, they just had endless trouble with electrics. And his wife got to the point where she didn't want to drive it because it left her stranded a couple of times. So it was like, just get rid of it. And they just got her a nice late model. Starts every time. She's not a hot rodder, she's a lovely lady, but she's not a hot rodder. And my wife's the same. She's not a hot rodder. She's going to get a little Alpine hot rodder, but I tell you what, I'm going to make sure I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that car never breaks down because she won't give it a lot of slack. Like if it lets her down a couple of times, she's probably not going to take it out a third time. And they can be like that a bit sometimes. It's different for us guys. We can get under the hood and we can try and fix something, or jerry rig something up or do something. But the ladies, they're kind of left on the side of the road, stranded and, waiting for us to get there as quick as we can or, having truckers blaring their horns at them and, it's a little tougher for the ladies to be broken down on the side of the road. So yeah. Barracuda, also a VF Valiant repowered with a 320 Chev. I was told it wasn't an easy swap. Yeah, well, the torsion bar front suspension would, I don't know how that would affect. I don't know. Not sure why Chevy would make it particularly hard to go into a Valiant. Not sure on that one. Maybe the distributor. I don't know. Don't know why that would have been. Could have been the location of the oil pan might cause a problem. Don't care too. Yes, Lucas, Prince of Darkness. Yes. Granddad's junk. Isn't the 308 a copy of the 307 Chevy? Don't some 307 Chev parts fit the 308? I don't believe so, no. But as most of you know, I'm a Ford guy, really, so I might and haven't had a lot to do with the Holdens, but even what I've read and been, led to believe is that no, the 307 and 308 are not really similar. Um, Supposedly, the 308 has some Pontiac roots. I was told, but not sure. It's been a long time since I've laid eyes on a 308, to be honest with you. I mean, those engines have been out of production for a long time, and I've been out in New Zealand for a long time. So um, I know they certainly look different when you look in a because some of the Holdens had Chevy engines in them, and some of them were 308s. They went through a period where they were sticking the small block Chevs and Holdens for a while. And visually, they're definitely a different engine, different valve covers, different intake, stuff like that. But there's guys around that know more about those than I do, to be fair. Dickie Farley. My gold top deluxe Gibson with mini humbuckers is a replica of a 69. Okay. Yep. Chris Freemasser, that's funny. Why do the English drink their beer warm? Because Lucas make their refrigerators. That's funny. That's funny. Granddad's junk, many a true word spoken in jest, indeed. Enos Hadzik, did you vote Trump or Harris? We're not talking politics. No, it's I did vote, and that's it. That's as much as politics as I'm going to talk. We'll see who's running the country by tomorrow morning, I imagine. And yeah. Sixth Street Garage. Kiwi, is there any way to adjust the tension between the door glass and the seal? Replace regulator, and now it makes a popping noise when closed. Maybe it's too tight. What sort of vehicle is that on 6th Street? Makes a popping noise like when it's closed. Like when you're driving, it's making a popping noise, or when you're winding it up and down. Barracuda, yeah, I did wonder about the oil pan. Yeah, big difference in the oil pan for one thing. Yeah. Alan Shildroth, pretty sure Tennessee went to Trump. Well, that was kind of a given, really. Tennessee is very Republican. That was one of the ones that they'd, the different candidates certainly, bank on certain states being theirs, and that that's the way it goes. I'd be very shocked if Tennessee didn't go to Trump. Granddad's junk. The later 308s fitted the turbo trains. Okay. So they changed the bell housing mountings on the later 308s? That would have made sense to fit the Chevy transmission, because the older ones had the Trimatics, didn't they? I remember the Trimatic name, which was not a bad transmission, not a great transmission, but not a bad transmission. I don't think it took too well to higher horsepower levels, but I think as a stock transmission, it was fairly good. Barracuda, it's looking good for Trump. Yeah. 6th Street Garage. I saw a video about the 308. It reminded me of Chevy, Oldsmobile, and Pontiac. Oh, there you go. I might have to do a bit of research on that and see what I can find out about it. But yeah, someone did. I can't remember who it was, but someone said that there was some some genetic code carried over from the old. I think it was Pontiac, but it might have been Oldsmobile into the 308. So. 6th Street Garage, 04 Crown Victoria. Have not worked on one of those, but it's too late model for me. There's usually, especially those later model ones, there's usually a reasonable amount of adjustment, but I'd just be guessing. But I'd be guessing. It's just I just don't work on any that. That shows you how old you are, doesn't it? When I say I don't work on anything that new, and that car's 20 years old. So it's like, it's not really a new car, is it? Chris Freemasser, too early to know many blue states on the West Coast. Yeah, apparently Trump typically looks very good early on because of the order that the states count in, and then the blue brigade come on stronger later in the count. So yeah, I think it probably is a little early to tell, even though it probably looks like. When I had a quick look before I came down and started the live, and he had a lot more than Kamala, but yeah, the talk is that will typically level out. It's going to be pretty tight. I think you'll find it's going to be pretty tight at the end of the day. Long Island Mopars, yeah, it looked good 4 years ago. Then Shazam, yeah, exactly. And I think it was kind of similar the 4 years before that. When the first time he got in, and that he was looking very strong, and then it became a lot closer. Laurel Flynn, surely your wife drives something more modern. Yes, she does. She's got an Audi Q8. So yeah, that's her modern car. With all the bells and whistles and the blingy stuff. Dickie Farley, Kiwi, just to let you know, humbuckers, mini humbuckers or single coils is all different types of pickups that gather the sound from the strings to put it through the amplifier. Okay. You got to cut me a little bit of slack there. The humbucker does not really kind of make you think of that, what they actually are, different types of pickups. Okay. I'm guessing that's probably a nickname or slang name for them. But yeah, it's all good fun. A little bit of fun. Just you imagine it from my point of view, reading that, talking about humbuckers and mini humbuckers. I'm like, what the heck are these guys on about? Yeah. Oh, well, another little piece of information to store away. Steve Sadusky, what's next on the Swiss cheese project? Next on that is getting all the inner fenders on, so that we can, get the front fenders on, get the front fenders hung. But we've got to get all the inner aprons on and the core support. And then we can get the front fenders hung and just make sure everything's where it's meant to be. So that's the next one, which I've got all those parts in there now. I've just got to get in there and measure them up and get them in the right place and burn them in. And then it'll be the rear suspension. That's going to be interesting. The rear suspension is another Mustangs to Fear piece, and that's a 4-link with a Watts link. So it's actually a 6-link rear suspension. But the Watts link, typically the Watts link kind of goes, like you got 2 bars each side, and it goes across and then it goes down, which is the Watts link, the pivot, and then goes across to the other side. So it runs through a vertical plane. With the Mustangs to Fear one, they actually, to save room, suppose that's the theory, they flipped it and put it through a horizontal plane, and it sits on top of the pumpkin. So yeah, the pivot actually works like that, which is going to make it interesting to kind of see how it all works. I've seen one other vehicle done with that setup, but that was a truck that had no floor in it, in the bed. So they did it that way, so you could see the Watts link moving, because you just looked in the bed, and the Watts link was kind of staring right back up at you. So yeah, this horizontal Watts link is going to be certainly a first in a Mustang for me. So yeah, we'll see how it works out. But yeah, a little bit of not terribly exciting stuff doing the inner fenders, but you got to have them, So that's the next thing. Laurel Flynn, glad to hear you. Spoiler. Well, she deserves it. She works pretty hard. She's in corporate, and she works pretty hard. So, and it's not really me spoiling her; it's her spoiling herself. To be fair. John Walkowski, hey Kiwi, how you doing, man? Glad to have you in the room. Sixth Street Garage. Thanks, Kiwi. We'll ask the Ford guys. Yeah, sorry about that, bud. Graham and Catherine Taylor, putting a 253 smaller version of the 308 from an HQ in my series something Land Rover. Just about to go for certification. Could be a nightmare. Ooh, yeah, that's a good little swap on a Land Rover. That's a good little swap. You don't want to be throwing too much horsepower at the rest of the Land Rover mechanicals, the diffs and stuff like that. So yeah, that 253 won't be working hard. That'll be a nice little conversion. But yeah, certification will be interesting. Is that something you've been doing all by yourself? Because they can be pretty tough on welding and stuff like that, I believe, on certification. When you're making mods like that, they might want to see your welding certificates and stuff like that. But yeah, time will tell. That'll be an interesting one. It'll be interesting to know how that goes for you. Eric Wilson, I think I'm going to have to make myself a trans adapter to put an LS engine on a Jeep 727 Grand Wagoneer transmission. Huh. Okay. What year Wagoneer? Is that an older Wagoneer, I would assume? I guess you could put an LS and an LS four-wheel drive transmission into the Wagoneer and just run the Wagoneer diffs. But yeah, keep the engine and trans and transfer case all Chevy based. You could. And honestly, I'd be surprised with the amount of repowers of Jeeps that goes on. I'd be surprised if you can't just buy an off-the-shelf adapter to put an LS in front of a 727. I think that's a real possibility. They could be already on the shelf waiting for you. Granddad's junk, the 253 is a nice little engine, not too gutsy on gas. No, it's not a big engine. What's that, 4.5 litre? 250, no, it's not even 4.5. It's probably 4.1, 4.2. Yeah, not too bad on gas, and they would really not far behind the 308 as far as performance went. John Orkowski, how are you? I'm good. John Kelly, 308 wider than a 30 than the small block Chevy. I assume you mean the turbo hydro 474 on. Okay. Dickie Farley, I got your back, Kiwi, way back. Alan Sheldroff, it bucks the hum like a twang. Humbuckers consisting of 2 coils were designed to buck the hum, reducing unwanted noise and interference. Okay. Don's Manufactory P90's rule. P90. What's a P90? P90. I know this somewhere in the deep depths of my brain that I know what a P90 is, but it's eluding me. I know that name or that number. Yeah, what is it, Don? P90. Barracuda. Did you see the 76 Jeep Wagoneer repowered with a Ferrari V12 on Jay Leno's garage? No, mate, I did not. I did not. That's crazy. Wow. Yeah, I don't know that that'd be a good engine for a Wagoneer. You want something torquey. Off-road, like a big, heavy off-road vehicle, you want something with bags of torque. The V12's lots of horsepower, but not a lot of torque. It's all RPMs. So, I mean, it's a neat, interesting conversion, but I don't know that it's really the best one. Stray bullet. I've seen the Ferrari Jeep at the museum. It's pretty cool. I bet it is. Barracuda. I used to have an HQ Monaro with a 400 Chevy and a 4-speed manual. It was just a 2-barrel, but it went good. Had lots of torque. Yeah. It would do 400 in an HQ. Yeah, that would go well. Long Island Mopars bailing out. Well, thanks for joining us, man. And we'll see you next week, hopefully. And we'll know who the new president's going to be by then. So yeah, that'll be interesting, won't it? Yeah. Cheers, mate. Have a good night. P90 is a big single core. Okay, I was thinking it was a car. Why did I think it was a car? Good Lord. Must be too much bourbon, I think. Lord Burns, I think no starter ring gear on an AMC 727 torque converter. So it's on the ring gear is on a separate flex plate from the torque converter, I guess, like the Chevys and Fords are. Eric Wilson, 1990. Yeah, that's what most people do, but I just don't want to replace the whole drivetrain. The overdrive 4L60 trans doesn't work with the 270 ratio Wagoneer disc. Yeah, that's true. That would be too tall. Yeah. The with overdrive 270 would be way too tall. Yeah, see if you can find an off the shelf. I'm sure you're not the first person to attempt to put an LS in that vehicle. I'm sure you're not. So, yeah, my money's on you being able to buy an adapter for that off the shelf, but it's made by somebody. Graham and Catherine Taylor. 253 uses the original engine mounts, came out of another Land Rover converted back in the day. I had it rebuilt and the rest of the vehicle restoring to original. Okay. So it's been done for a long time. That should help you with certification. And using the original engine mounts, that's a big plus. Okay. So nothing's too cut up. They get pretty antsy when you start cutting stuff up. Volvo P90, that's what I'm thinking of. I knew I wasn't completely losing my mind. Well, I was hoping I wasn't completely losing my mind. But yeah, no, I knew yeah, okay. Cool. Well, thank you for that. Thanks for easing my mind there. Fleetwood, hey, Kiwi Noir, you just joined us, Fleetwood. You're leaving it a bit late, but we got like 9 minutes to go. But that's all right. We're so glad to have you, man. Barracuda, I think the Ferrari Jeep guy kept the revs up and regularly drove it at 140. Well, he's a braver man than me. I would not be doing 140 in a 1990 Jeep Wagoneer. Yeah, I'm out at that point. I would be out. Dickie Farley, Kiwi. Maybe you was thinking right. Stray Bullet says Volvo P90, but for sure P90 in the guitar world is a big single coil pickup. Well, there you go. There's obviously parallels between the guitar world and the automotive world, so that's a good thing. That can only be a good thing. Barracuda, yeah. I saw Granddad's Junk asked about Petrolhead magazine. Petrolhead magazine. I haven't seen a copy of that for quite a few years since the last time I was back in New Zealand. But that's a great magazine. Good to know it's still going. I will have to get a couple of copies. And I remember they used to do a photo thing where people would send in photos of themselves reading the Petrolhead magazine in different parts of the world. So I really should do that. Get a picture of me reading the Petrolhead magazine while doing a live from Franklin, Tennessee in America with Kiwis watching me reading Petrolhead magazine in America on a live. Did that make sense? I think it did. That's a very good grassroots kind of car guy magazine. It's a newsprint magazine. It's all it was just all on newsprint. I think the cover's color, but color newsprint. Not glossy magazine stuff. And just really nitty gritty grassroots budget kind of magazine, but it had all the stuff you wanted to read in it. So I'm glad that's still going. Don's Manufacturing. No, it's getting thin, right? I'm kind of I'm stretching it out now. Stray Bullet, advanced adapters. There you go. That'd be a good place to start. Guy in it selling. What you talking about there, Granddad's joke? Oh, there's a guy in it selling heaps of 392 Hemi engine part. Hey, I need to hear about that. I could be interested in that. Some of that stuff. Buy it at the New Zealand dollar buy it at New Zealand prices with the American dollar is always good. Yes, getting around that time. Don's Manufacturing, he's out. Good night, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Barracuda Swedish Valiants came out of the Volvo factory. Really? That's a thing? They made Valiants in Sweden? That's cool. I didn't know that. Oh, the Wagoneer is the 76. Okay, well, that's even worse. It's 70. Yeah, I was thinking someone had a 1991 somewhere. Oh, Eric had a 1991. But the Ferrari one was the 76. Oh, good Lord. Yeah. No, you wouldn't catch me going that fast in one of those things. I wonder if you can read the October, those issues. Granddad's Junk. It's in the October issue. I wonder if you can read that. Do you know if you can read it online, that magazine, or do you, does it only come out in a print format? Because I'd be interested in seeing what he had and what the prices were like. I've got to do something with that 392 I've got. I just haven't decided what yet. I flip and flop about putting that 392 into March, and some people think it's a great idea, and some people go, no, keep the poly, stroke it out to 400, but keep the poly. Yeah. All right, so it's probably about time to wrap this thing up. We're very, very close on our 2 hours, and I have to admit I'm a little curious to. Oh, Granddad's Junk. I will take a picture of the ad and send it to you. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That'd be great. Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm kind of a little curious to get back in front of the TV and just see how things are tracking on our election. Yeah, it's interesting. I think we're going to have a different party in power in the next 24 hours, but time will tell. That's not to say it's necessarily what I want. It's just saying that's what I think is going to happen. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think a few of you have faded away. Probably interested in the election as well. So I think we'll wrap it up. I might just go and get one more little top up of bourbon and nurse that as I watch the election results. All right, Josh Homan. It was good. Well, thank you, sir. Barry Cooter, do you remember the stud Cola Fiat Topolino drag car? I think it had a 392 Hemi. I do remember a Topolino with a 392 Hemi in it. Yeah, I do, actually. I don't remember the stud Cola part of the equation, but I do remember a Topolino with that Hemi in it. Yeah. So yeah, let's call it a night, guys. Dickie Farley, great show. Thank you, sir. Fleetwood praying for good results. Yep. Yeah, hopefully, it's all going to lead to another prosperous 4 years for all of us here in the States. And a little bit of extra money to spend on our hot rods, maybe. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, you all take it easy, and hope you guys get what you want in the morning, for our leaders, and it will be what it will be. But yeah, what we will be is back next Tuesday night. We'll have some answers, and we can talk about cars again. So I will see you then. Have a great week, and take care of yourselves. Get out there and drive your hot rod, or get building your hot rod, and most of all, just have some fun, guys. All right. Take it easy and see you next week.